Recording. When you hear the sound of
Okay.
the bell, you know you in the championship rounds with King Amin of Essex. And I keep telling y'all, for me, I'm getting some real good work out here. When you give good work in the gym, you get invited, you can invite. So here, what I have done, I have invited a legend, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself and give her social media. This is Coach Sharron Baker out of Philly. Go ahead and give the people your social media, please.
My social media is at Coach Sharron on IG, and on Facebook it's Sharron Baker.
All right.
That's how I can be reached.
Absolutely. Now, I want to walk us through this. I want to talk about the early days, and I have to ask because I don't want to assume. Are you originally from Philly?
Yes, I am born and
Oh,
raised.
okay, born and raised. Because that's a distinction. Because even if you say somebody from North Philly, they be like, "Nah, that cat from Uptown." So I got to be sure that I address it properly. Your
And I'm
jurisdiction.
from North Philly.
Okay, all right. You see, I got to get it
Yeah,
all the way
yeah.
correct. All right.
I grew up in North Philly, moved out into Winfield later on, but I'm originally from North Philly.
So let's get right to it. Philly is that kind of city. It's not many cities like it in the planet where really the UK to me is only comparable where almost everybody in the city you might have to be careful because they might knuckle you down. What is it about Philly that breeds this love and this passion and this spirit? Is it in the water, the air, the soil, or what?
It's got to be a combination of all three because as far as I can go back, I've loved boxing and I have family. My father fought, my brother fought, all my uncles fought, my grandfather. So it's being around in the neighborhood and guys boxing and in the street slap boxing and so it's a lot of fight in Philly,
Yeah.
a lot of fight.
Definitely, definitely. So some of those early days, you mentioned your family was involved, but then I want to talk about somebody that I guess gave you your first education in boxing, Sam Hickman.
Sam Hickman,
Right.
exactly. He was my coach. Rest his soul. Back in uh, 1976, I believe it was, uh, a few females came through Philly, and at the time I was living up the street from the Joe Frazier boxing gym. And when I saw that they had women here, it was uh, Lady Tiger and Gwen Gemini. They were licensed in New York as the first females who got licensed, and they fought. They debuted here in Philly at the old arena at 46 and Market. And because I was always interested in boxing, seeing that gave me the nudge. Hey, go in the gym and see what can happen for you. And that's where I met Sam Hickman, and he began to coach me at that time. However, over the next few years, it was we just couldn't get no fights because they weren't sanctioning women to fight in Pennsylvania, and so just getting amateur fights or anything like that, it just wasn't happening back then.
Mm.
You know, so
Those are
but at
early
the same
days.
Yes, and during the same time, I had attended a few tournaments, amateur tournaments, and I didn't realize then that Sam was grooming me to be a coach at that time. I didn't realize it until later on when I began coaching and remember some of the things that he showed me early on that it's got to do with coaching.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a great guy, man.
Definitely, and God bless his soul, and definitely, I know you appreciate it, and the city of Philadelphia appreciate his contribution. I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, your time and experience with USA Boxing, since what was that like for you?
Oh, that was great. It was such a refresher. It actually the time there made me fall in love with boxing again because I had begun to come to a time where I was saying, maybe getting ready to hang up my mitts and just retire and do something else. As much as I love boxing, and even I can't see myself just walking completely away. But it was at one of those times, and being asked to come to the Olympic Training Center to work with the elite 2019 men and women elite boxing team, it was very invigorating, and also just being there around so many kids and all of them wanting to learn, and having them clamoring for me and for what I had to offer was just one of the best feelings in the world, and I'm happy to have had that experience.
That leads me right into my next question, because now, um, with USA Boxing, I guess there's been some changes, but I'm hoping that it gets back on its feet the way it was at a time where I think it was pretty prominent. The 90s to 2000s, I think USA Boxing was represented well. I don't know if it's the kids not taking to boxing as much. You still have it in certain cities, but whether it was USA Boxing or professionally, what's the most exotic, unique, or different locale that boxing has taken you?
Wow, boxing. I had the opportunity, besides working with the Olympic team at the Olympic Training Center and traveling to Germany with them to continue a camp for the Women's World Tournament. Um, and in the pros, I was fortunate enough to be on that undercard of Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor with Steve Cunningham. So that was, as you know, was is the biggest event in pay-per-view history. So
Spectacle.
that still holds. And then I also, with Steve Cunningham, had the opportunity to be on Triller. And when they first came out, they were just knocking doors down and you know raining money throughout and things like that. So everybody was clamoring to get to that Triller, and I was fortunate enough to have been on that stage as well.
No, those are definitely some great experiences, and I want to ask you right now, somebody that I was familiar with had the opportunity for me to interview, Atif Burleton. What do you look for in a fighter, and how'd you end up with Atif?
Um, Atif was in the gym that I was in, and he and his trainer had parted ways. And he asked would I work with him. We worked a few days together, and we clicked. So that led up to the next 6 years, and I did what I can to get him where he is. Unfortunately, now we have parted ways.
Mm.
So I wish him well wherever he is and whatever he's doing. I wish him well. You know.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I spoke with another fighter just yesterday. I spoke with Pete Dobson out of New York, and he said that boxing is like relationships. Um, you break up. Sometimes it's nasty. Sometimes it's sweet. Sometimes it is what it is. But you don't. I guess you don't lose your love. Maybe
Right,
the difference
right.
in this, whatever it was, you won't lose your love and your passion for the sport. I mean, I can't imagine you would. How many years you got in? Over what, 40 years?
Over 40, yes.
All right.
Over 30 as a coach, close to 50 in boxing completely.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, team combat. What's going on with that? I'm trying to get more versed in it. So if you want to talk about that, I don't know.
Well, the team combat league, that perception of doing things in that manner is really different. But it's great in the sense that there's no filling out process. It's just one round, and when the bell rings, you just got to go to work until the next bell rings. Um, we had tryouts at our gym, and a lot of people came out. Unfortunately, when it was time to get together and form the entire team, a lot of people just didn't respond. I think they're probably thinking, the money's kind of crazy. That thing can't be true.
Well,
And we reached out, and we got some few other boxers from other states. But in the end, they phased out the Philly team and the San Antonio team. So it's still going on. We're just not a part of it right now.
man, boxing. The sometimes it's hard to love it. One of my guys said, the more you know, like as an insider, it almost to turn your heart cold, man. But
Yeah,
I'm a lover. I'm a lover.
it
So
it
I'm a.
can it can turn your heart cold. I ran into a buddy of mine who's coaching for years, and I asked him about who he was working with. He said he would not give a fighter one more minute of his time.
Mm.
So sometimes the breakups are bad. Sometimes you just get tired of dealing with the unfaithfulness, the unloyalness. So you just, and I think that's probably what happened with him. I'm not gonna let that be a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna do what I do until I get tired of doing it.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Now, I got something I like to call a little bit of pad work. We're gonna get a little pad work. I know you used to holding the pads, but I'm gonna hold the pads for you and let you knock a few of these out the park. All right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you. This is for you to answer. If I wasn't a trainer, I'd be.
If I wasn't a trainer, I'd probably be retired from doing bookkeeping work, something in the office. So yeah,
So
I'd
you'd be
probably be retired by now.
okay. Okay. So I got another one for you. Southpaw or conventional?
I love them both, but I think I'm a little partial to southpaws.
Are you personally a southpaw?
No,
Oh, that's interesting.
uh,
Do you prefer training
orthodox.
southpaws? Is that it?
No, I don't. It's it's. I like the challenge of having to create things a little differently than they are with the orthodox guy.
Mm,
So but doesn't matter. As guys I've worked with who can work from both sides.
mm,
So, but I just like the southpaw always makes the other guy think more.
mm.
They just don't go with the clear head. Hey, it's just another guy.
And I
So
think that ties into you being a bookkeeper. You got that in here. You like the calculations, the moves. So
I do, I
absolutely,
do.
absolutely. Um, do you have any guilty pleasures, any snacks or things that you do where people be like, Coach, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't do that. But you be like, yo, I gotta do it. Whether it's, a snack or a show that you watch, people any guilty pleasures that you have?
Not nothing out of the norm.
Sure.
I love sweets, candy. But
You don't watch
eh,
no corny television shows, people be telling you, like, why are you watching that nonsense? Nothing like that.
no, I haven't had anybody ask me about the shows I watch.
Okay, okay, okay.
I binge. Sometimes I binge on shows off Netflix or Fire Stick. I might find something
Let,
interesting,
let
but
me
I
ask
like
you
a good
this.
movie.
I got one for you. Do you watch them shows that be on Tubi? Them hood movies that be on Tubi?
I have. Somebody got me into Tubi. I think I was on my way to Germany, and one of the other coaches gave me the link so that I could be able to watch movies, something. And so I have it. I'll browse through it from time to time, but I don't watch many movies. But I
Okay.
have watched movies on Tubi.
Okay. Okay. They got some pretty wild hood movies on there. Like, it's be
They do.
the plot be thickening, man. I'd be like, man, I can't keep up. And I'm pretty clever. And if I can't keep up, man, they taking you around the world. But I'm gonna get you out of here on this one. Do you have any hidden or unexpected talents that people wouldn't know about you?
Hmm.
Dancer, singer, artist, or
I,
anything?
I'm pretty much an open book. I like to dance. Can't dance like I used to, and I love to sing. Not a singer,
Hmm.
but you know, in the car, shower,
But you're
along with the radio, sitting home.
from a very musical city as well, like hip hop, and even going back to Gamble and Huff, and even before then. So
It
um,
take me back to Gamble and Huff, where I'm from the era where the guy stood on the corner and sang.
yeah.
I come from that era, so I was involved in that kind of stuff too.
See? You probably could sing more than you want to give yourself credit for, but you seem humble. So maybe if I catch you one day, that's all right. But listen, Coach, that was it. we close it out. And I want to thank you for joining me. Give the people your social media one more time before we get you out of here.
All right, I'm Coach Sharron Baker. My IG is at Coach Sharron, and you can get me on Facebook, Sharron Baker. And I'm always in the gym, Pivot Boxing Academy, 2810 North, 2807 North 6th Street,
All right, y'all. Listen.
Philadelphia.
And Philly, you know where it is. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm getting better and better, y'all. I
All
see y'all.
right.
We
Thank
out of
you.
here.
All right.